request also Ms. Varsha Subhash to ask a couple of questions. She's also been a corporate trainer and she is helping most of the other corporate companies as well.
Right, good evening, everybody, and it's a pleasure to be on this platform today. Thank you so much, Leaders Connect, for giving me this opportunity to interact with the entire bunch and especially to Mr. Venkat. So, Mr. Venkat, as we were just, getting some questions on this particular topic among our group, so we just got to understand one of the typical challenge that most of the the leaders who are currently leading roles across different industries is change. As such, the word change, yes, the pandemic has definitely brought us, to be more flexible in terms of different aspects. However, change is absolutely very challenging for every person. And I'm sure as a leader, it certainly stands a much more higher responsibility as well. So if we were to bring in a change in our team or at an organization level, then what approach or habits would you suggest could help, especially in the current times, and that could also help in the near future?
I think, there is a behavioral geneticist in one of the colleges in London. He says that everyone has a predisposition to a certain behavioral pattern. Personality, it's there in the genes. I mean, he goes on to say, I was just reading up, a reference is made to him in that book, Atomic Habits as well. Atomic Habits, I think it's a recent book of James Clear, Atomic Habits. I happened to read it. Reference has been made to him, and he says that the predisposition is there. It's perhaps not predetermination, but there is a predisposition to a way of behavior or genetic disposition. Yeah, so that's number one. So change is tough. I think we have been reading about change management. I mean, I'm sure right from my days in the IIM to other places, I have read and done a lot of work in the space of change management. Everyone has written, we have studied lots of case studies, analysis, etc. Yes, but change, it's largely undefined and very, very, very esoteric in its approach. But there are certain life-altering events that occur to people. That brings about a change. And there are times when a breakdown happens in life. Okay.
True.
By breakdown, it doesn't have to be a serious one as bad as a heart attack or anything of that kind. A breakdown is that maybe I've not been able to win the business deal. Maybe I've not been able to hire the right candidate. Maybe something like that. A skill doesn't happen at the intellectual level; it happens at the body level. You need to be able to practice it. So therefore, unless you involve your body, you practice it, it doesn't happen. So you need to identify the right practice to develop that respect. How to respect people. I can't tomorrow morning walk into my office and say, namaste to everyone, and then ask 3 times a day whether you had your coffee. That's not being respectful. That's faking respect. So do I genuinely become a little more respectful? So then once I start some practice, I got to kind of reflect on the practice. How am I progressing? Eventually, I believe that you have to build some kind of a self-generating capacity in us, that we are able to recognize a breakdown in life, breakdown in our context, see why did that happen, what is the skill that can help me address that breakdown, find a practice.
Wow.
Look at opportunities to identify breakdown, the skills, and then practice, reflection, till you build that kind of a capacity. So and also have small wins, take small steps at a time and do that, because otherwise a lot of big presentations about change and a lot of things, they talk about different parts of the brain, what goes where, we do that. These are all true, because if it is genetic, obviously, I'm sure there are a lot of things are the way you are wired, you know, that is change and the approach to change and the motivation to change and building a capacity to change is a process. And as we believe in several walks of life, I think the earlier we get attuned to that, the better it is. Sometimes, if we had been, if we are lucky enough to live life our own way, I mean, lucky within quotes, I don't know if it's right or wrong, but much later in life, it could be very difficult to adjust, because situations, that's what they say, you know, they talk about that ecosystem, leadership, in behavior, everything, the ecosystem is equally important.
Absolutely.
Right.
Wow, that was well explained with a lot of examples. I really like the process that you said. Not necessarily that you have to take a breakdown situation only at your professional front. It could just be even at your personal front, and that can just help us to build our own resilience. That's more important. The more we reflect on our own the dip points or the challenging phases of our life, and then we take the next step towards how do I break through this, then we eventually think about what is that skill that is needed. And as you rightly said, skill is not just at the intellectual level, it is more at the body level, which means it needs a lot of practice.
Yes.
Beautifully said. That doesn't stop there. Does it skill help? I think that's where reflection is more important, because the skill that we are developing, it becomes a muscle memory within us. And in that case, we have to always take a moment for a pause to see how does this is helping me in my journey towards my progression or towards my success, or what am I aiming at. So beautifully, shared the entire process and the approach.
Good evening, one and all. Welcome to Leaders Connect, an online leadership community, for a special 50th episode where leaders create more leaders, organized by the Mass Leadership. My name is Yugandhar, currently working in Everest IMS Technologies as HR executive. Leaders Connect is started with the specific objective of creating 1,000+ leaders, where all the working professionals and business people share their real-time challenges, either leading self, leading others, in the business on our website, www.themassleadership.com. We see all the challenges, filter them, and every week on Wednesday, we invite a top management leader from a corporate company who will be giving solutions for our real-time challenges on leadership. That's when we call as Leaders Create More Leaders.